Hi sisters, Lynn Frank here. Welcome to another chit chat session. Let's talk all things women. This week I turned to a book I'm currently reading, The Feminist Fight Club, for inspiration. It's a survival guide to a sexist workplace. I'm an elementary school teacher and the profession is largely female, although still men, of course, as teachers. And although I don't experience sexism on a daily basis, I know that it exists. As I dive deep into this book, I realize that it is a daily occurrence for many of my sisters, and that's why I chose to talk about it today. We need some strategies to deal with all this BS that we encounter on a daily basis. Like, women are still being called bossy and bitchy because they take leadership roles and can control a project and assign people on their team jobs? Really? Because if a man did that, he would be seen as committed and motivated. There's a story in the book about a female filmmaker, and at her staff meetings, she's sharing this idea about a new TV series, and her boss loves it, and she's getting excited, and she's receiving positive praise. And by the end of the meeting, he's given her idea to her male counterpart, and it will now be his project to work on. And there's layers here. So not only is that a problem, but then she doesn't say anything. She's livid. Of course she is. But why doesn't she say anything? We go deeper. Because women are often called emotional or overreacting. And maybe that was her experience in the past. And so she says nothing. And her idea is now given. And someone else is working on it. There's also an example of two people being given the same position. They're hired at the same time. The job description is similar. Great. One man, one female. 3 weeks into the job, the man is given this very prestigious title. And although the woman is given the opportunity to choose the title she wants, he holds the title that everyone else recognizes and that everyone else automatically gives more respect to. That's not a coincidence. And then there's this story Jessica shares about 2 award winners. And the event planner asks them to greet guests as they walk in. So of course they do, totally. They go to the door, and do you know what happens? The male award winner is constantly given praise and everyone's shaking his hand. And although some acknowledge the woman standing beside him, most give her their jacket. They assume she's the person in charge of coat check, when in fact she is the second award winner. And that's what happens. Those people aren't bad or mean. They didn't mean to be disrespectful. It's just the social conditioning that we have endured since birth that leads us to these conclusions that he's the winner and she's the help. And that happens again and again. Don't even get me started about pay. Stats show that women and men who do the same work, a woman is getting 93% of his pay. Not paid the same. Or a woman who is successfully rising in her career, as she defines success, right, is oftentimes not liked by her coworkers. And that's female and male. The further you go up, the less you are liked. And so that woman has 2 choices. She can live up to the reputation that precedes her, or she overcompensates and is like really nice and super empathetic because she just wants to be liked. What bothers me about that is the woman against woman. Sisters, that's the patriarchy. They have convinced us that there's one seat at the table. Why? Why would they do that? Well, they don't want us to take over, because we would. But more importantly, they don't want us coming together as a collective. We've been gathering since the beginning of time. It is in our nature to do so. And so if the system can convince us that we're enemies, that we're always in competition, then it never has to worry about what we can actually do when we come together. So in your workplace, as you rise up, make sure you turn around and you pull the next sister behind you, because there's actually room at the table for both of you. So what do we do? What do we do in these sexist workplaces? I'm going to address two common battles that we have to endure on a daily. The first one is dealing with and I want to get this right, Manterrupter. A Manterrupter. She gives little names to these people that we have to face and deal with. The Manterrupter is someone who interrupts. And the most famous example of that is Kanye West and Taylor Swift. When Taylor Swift is on stage accepting an award for, I think it was like greatest video, and he gets on and says what he has to say, and she stands by. Stats show time and time again that women are more interrupted in business conversations than men. Yeah, I'm not surprised either at all. So what do we do about it? Two things we can do. One, you ignore him and you continue talking. And you speak with authority and you own it and you're standing in your power and you keep going. Unfortunately, sometimes that doesn't work, right? Because he's just going to be louder and he too is speaking with authority. And, well, we know he usually wins. So, you get to the meeting early. And you sit wherever you know, because we're creatures of habit, the most influential person in the room sits. And you make sure you're near that person. And when you're presenting, you're making eye contact with other people in the room, but with that person. And as you're presenting, and there's this key moment, this big idea, this spark, you lean in. And just that leaning in has the audience, your co-workers, engaged that much more. Remembering that the idea you are sharing is yours and not the Manterrupter. The second one I want to address is the Bropropriator. And the Bropropriator is that guy in your office, in your workplace, that claims other people's ideas as his own. You ever worked with someone like that? So maybe you're in a small team meeting. You share a couple of good ideas. He's like, yeah, love it. You see him jotting it down. Great. And now you're going to your monthly meeting with the board, whatever it is. I'm using these terms. The idea is that you're meeting with a larger team. And he presents your ideas, but as his own. And he's given credit because as a white man, credit is assumed. No one's even questioning it's not his idea. We're all assuming it is, which is the bullshit of it all. So what do you do with that? What do you do with that? My favorite solution the book offers is this. When he is done sharing the idea, you step up, you step in, you take your place, and you start with something like this. Bob, thanks for sharing the idea I discussed with you earlier. Or, yes, Bob, that's the point I was making when we discussed earlier today. Thank you for sharing it with the staff. I would also like to add, and you give a bit more information, or the next steps would be, and you share a little bit more. You let everyone in the room know that Bob, Manterrupter, is taking your idea. And he's a bit of a jackass. But more importantly, the point, okay, I got carried away there. More importantly, the point is you let them know that the idea he shared is yours because you're brilliant, because you've got great ideas and you're sick and tired of other people taking credit for them. Stand up for yourself. Here's a bit of tough love. You don't do it, no one will. Now, there are people who can help. Sisters, if you are attending a meeting and you see that the person presenting, another woman, and a man could do this too. Someone is presenting, another woman is presenting, and you see that she's been interrupted, or someone now is starting to talk and taking ownership of her ideas. She's maybe attempted to talk over him, but she's lost the floor. Please step in. Please step in. Ask a question. Sarah, when you said what did you mean? Or Sarah, I liked when you said, could you elaborate on that? And then it offers the woman who is presenting the opportunity to go back and share her ideas and what she was saying, taking up space where she deserves it. Don't forget, we are stronger together. And every time you as an individual make a positive change for yourself, you make it for all of us. It sounds corny, but it's true. It's true. There is some positive. There's, one, we can make a difference and work together. And a stat recently shows that women in leadership are actually more inclusive, more empathetic, and more productive. And guess what? If we're more productive, we're more profitable. And so hopefully, because we're talking money, now someone's going to pay attention to what we do. Because ladies, the future's female. Peace, sisters.